And she talked about how she almost jumped the broom 4 times.
She's been engaged 4 times.
So once again, my therapy lights went off, and I said, here it goes again. The reason Dr. Bryant never managed to jump the broom on those 4 occasions is because her abandonment issues that she honestly put out there are so strong that she has a tendency to want to over-control her mate as a means of preventing the abandonment. And in her over-control of these men who do not want to be over-controlled, she either pushes them away or they leave of their own volition because they don't like the manner in which she wants to control the relationships.
What do you think about that?
I love everything he said. This is what made it really hard for me to change. Not one of them was leaving. And all of them have attempted to be back, still attempt to be back, and would like to be back.
What's up with it, YouTube? It's your boy V Reacts. Bumming at you with a brand new video, hey man. Today we got a banger, man. Today we got Nick Cannon with Counsel Culture talking to Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, where she's addressing Dr. Umar. Look, man, y'all seen the intro, and if y'all liked it, man, be sure to like the video, because if y'all like that intro, y'all gonna like the video. Comment you got something to say about the video or me. Subscribe if you're new and mess with the content, man. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the video. Ain't no need to talk through my intro, man. Let's just go ahead and get to the video.
So we have our community finally, because what I love most, Nick, I've seen so many black men of all ages, I mean, tagging me, DMing me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, going, you know what, Doc? I'm 26, 4 kids, 4 different women.
Yeah.
Doc is right.
Yeah.
We got to create more husbands and less baby daddies. Let's have this conversation. Let's take accountability, men. Get into therapy, get into coaching, get help. And when you see counsel culture and the culture getting counseling from conversations like this, that most people don't want to have because they don't want to take the backlash of you're a deadbeat daddy or you a single woman with no kids, who are you to... We're shifting the whole culture.
Absolutely.
And this is what it's about. And we're cultivating, we're being fruitful, but this is what it's about. These young men are saying, I want to do different. And I want to say this because it's important. No matter what decision you've made, you are not doomed. You're not doomed. That just means for you to sit back, okay? Life is meant to be lived like this. This is a surrender posture. Not like this where you're clenching in fear because I made these decisions and I got these kids, or I've been to prison, or I've done these things, or I'm highly traumatized, I'm dysfunctional, I'm diagnosed. No, no, no. Surrender to that. Accept the reality of what it is. Figure out what tools you need to get where you want to be, because you're going to have to learn to go broken. You're going to have to learn to go narcissistic. You have to learn to go depressed. You're going to have to learn to go as a father of 5 by 4 different women, or a woman who's single with 1 kid, or a man with no kids. It doesn't matter how you go. The point is 90% of what you need to do is showing up for yourself, getting the tools, applying them, because knowledge is not power. The implementation of knowledge is power. So no one's doomed. That's what I want our culture to know. There's no such thing as you're too fucked up. It's where are you?
Right.
Because God meets you where you are. But if you hide and don't want nobody to know the address, we can't find you. And the address is just the accountability. Yo, Nick, I have FUCK'd up.
Right.
That's my address. And I need to figure out how to get out of this. And let people know you need help. There's so much power in just getting help or saying I need help. These men come in session, they're like, Doc, I ain't gonna lie. I'm fucked up. I don't even know where to go from here. Like, just tell me, like, is there any way that I can change? And I laugh, and they're like, and I'm going, yeah. But before we do that, is where you at working for you? Because if it's working for you and the outside chatter is telling you something different, then let's run these plays. Let's run these plays. Why are we running outside plays if that don't work for you?
And that, to me, goes back to where, like I said, I'm happy, I'm content with the life I have, and then that then gets labeled as more narcissistic behavior. But I think because, like you said, we're having these conversations and there's so many people that are a part of the conversation, I as we wrap this session up, I actually want to show you someone that I admire, that I believe also admires you and that spoke so highly of you, and is another voice of the culture and often has controversial talk in this space, but had an interesting clinical approach is Dr. Umar Johnson, who was sitting here and like I said,
I love him.
He considers you,
Before we get into the Dr. Umar section, I do want to say that what she's saying is facts. Most of the things Dr. Cheyenne Bryant says, I agree with, because she says what needs to be said. She says what I say in other videos. At the end of the day, your life gonna go many different ways. That's how life works. Everybody's life is not identical. You could have a twin. Y'all life is not gonna be identical. Life plays off the decisions you make. So you make the decisions, whatever spot you in his life is because of the decisions you made. So you have to understand every decision you make is gonna change your situation. So if you want to change your situation for the better, make better decisions. It's that simple.
Warrior in the fight of mental health and wants to sit down with you. I told him we're going to have a counsel culture. When we sit down in our roundtable settings, I got to have you both on together. So when we have our panels, but he was moved and intrigued by, our conversations and the ones with Cam. And he has some interesting thoughts. So I want you to see and respond to what you think. He has a full session, but this one important because it's exactly what we were talking about.
Nice.
Okay, in Dr. Cheyenne's conversation with Brother Cam, he said, my fear
is bigger
of divorce
is greater,
exceeds my desire for marriage. And he said, and I may be paraphrasing a little bit here, that he was taking his time to find the right woman to build with.
Well, he has a woman.
And Dr. Cheyenne, rightfully so, saw that as a contradiction and she went right in.
Right.
And she said, paraphrasing, how can you be patient about looking for the right woman, but you're impatiently making all these children with unmarried women? In other words, if you're going to take your time and find a woman, slow down and take your time with impregnating them as well.
Right.
To that point. I understood her point. Now here's where the irony comes in, and I'm going to bring it back to you for a question.
Right.
Cam Newton flipped it. And he said, okay, you're evaluating and criticizing the fact that I have 8 children by 3 different women.
Right.
And I still want more children, even though I'm being patient and finding my mate.
Right.
But you're 41 and haven't had any children. To what can we attribute your behavior?
Right.
Here's the irony. Her answer to Cam was exactly Cam's answer to her. She said she was taking her time. So I'm looking at this as a psychologist, right?
Right.
And then Cam comes with another question. He says, what age or how young can your potential mate be? She mentioned 26, 27. I said, as a therapist, bingo. I said, I know why Dr. Cheyenne Bryant isn't married. Dr. Cheyenne Bryant has a fear of abandonment. And the reason why a 26, 27-year-old spouse possibly would be appealing to her is she could parentify herself in that relationship where she becomes the mommy and the mate. And in being the mommy and the mate, I'm able to coddle my young partner. And in doing so, I get to control his behavior, therefore preventing the abandonment that I fear.
Exactly. Basically guaranteeing that she would never get divorced or the dude would never leave her, because she basically coached him and built him into the man that she wants him to be. while she can still dominate the relationship. Like, we all understand how she is as a female. She's a very, very alpha woman. She's an alpha woman. I can't lie. She's an alpha woman. So she don't need an alpha man. You know, she's like a Oprah Winfrey. She needs a man like how Oprah Winfrey got a man. She needs a man that's like that, you know, that don't mind taking the back seat, that'll listen, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, what Umar is saying is facts. If she feel like she can't control you in a relationship, she don't want that relationship, which makes sense for a woman like her. All that she's been through, how educated she is, she basically put her on the same tier as an alpha man. Makes sense.
When I looked at her conversation with you, you asked her the same question as well.
Yeah.
Well, what about you? And she talked about how she almost jumped the broom 4 times.
She's been engaged 4 times.
So once again, my therapy lights went off, and I said, here it goes again. The reason Dr. Bryant never managed to jump the broom on those 4 occasions is because her abandonment issues that she honestly put out there are so strong that she has a tendency to want to over-control her mate as a means of preventing the abandonment. And in her over-control of these men who do not want to be over-controlled, she either pushes them away or they leave of their own volition because they don't like the manner in which she wants to control the relationships.
What do you think about that?
I love everything he said. Everything he said. Only one correction, then I'll go into what I love about he said. One correction. I didn't say I would want a 26-year-old man. What I was saying to Cam, because he kept asking the same question,
right.
and I was reading behind his question, which the fans read also. He kept asking the age, because I'd already said as long as a man has no kids.
Right.
And he seemed very triggered by me saying a man with no kids, because that meant not him. And he
Did you pick up on that?
Well, yeah, I picked up on that. And he deems me as being the
clear.
kind of aesthetically woman that would have been, say, his type back then or now if he was single, because he's very much with his mate. And a man of high value can get whoever he wants, because you said that too.
Right.
But when you're sitting across from a woman who's high value and high functioning, and who would be, and I say this with humility, but I'm just going to say, who would be the poster card, the perfect woman per se, no kids, you know, good looking, she's a doctor, she's educated, has her own stuff.
Right.
It's telling you, no, you couldn't have me. And she's not just saying it, hold on, her no was not a no, her no was like, absolutely not. And I'm not saying it to get you to hunt me, I'm saying it because I'm nowhere in your jungle to be your prey.
So did you purposely say that to him to
no, he kept
make
asking
it affirmative? That
no, he kept asking, so
I'm not interested in you?
No, I was just saying, I already said, a man with no kids, meaning if the man is 45 or if he happens to be 30 and he has no kids, or if he is as young as 26 and he's mature with no kids, then I'm not going to say no to a 26-year-old with no kids, but yes to a 45-year-old with kids.
Really?
That really. And I understand that I would rather have patience with a younger man than have to have my values be dissipated and shattered with the man with kids, because those are values. It's called preference, which we all have a right for preferences. But let me tell you where I do love what he said. Yeah. Because he nailed he put the head on the nail, whatever. He was on bullseye on X marks the spot with what he was saying in my low functioning behavior. So remember I was telling you I had my own space of being low functioning in relationships, that I did a lot of work, and I still do a lot of work to maintain it. And I said I'm a hybrid. And now I am a very high functioning woman who manages my low functioning behaviors and parts that don't inflame half as much. Maybe out of 100%, they inflame maybe 20%.
Right.
What I like that he said was she gets into these relationships when she was engaged multiple times, and because of her abandonment, and abandonment is just the insecurity of being left. Love that he said that. She goes into over controlling, being dogmatic, being domineering, to, which is an illusion, control, not the man, that's the only part he was wrong at, her feelings of abandonment. Because I'm not controlling you. We're all just controlling ourselves. We're never controlling anybody else.
Right,
We're controlling something that activates in us that we don't want you to activate.
Right.
So I was controlling this person from moving anywhere off the mark. Because abandonment people need you to stay right here.
Right there. Yeah.
Right where I left you, right
Exactly.
here. That's not reality.
Yeah.
Humans move, humans change, humans evolve. And I had to learn, which is what he's saying, how to get out of that low functioning behavior of, I need you right here. Because if you move a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, I'm gonna freak out.
Right.
Because that may mean, that movement could mean abandonment to me.
Absolutely.
So I had to work through that. That's where he's correct. But it wasn't in my mind to control the man. It was to control what he would activate in me
Right.
based on his movement or behavior. Now, when I say I'm high functioning, we had this conversation earlier about me dating and in my dating space and saying, Nick, I love that I can be traveling doing me and if I'm dating a guy, he's traveling and doing him, and we find that intimate time to be together.
Right.
I couldn't do that 10 years ago because of what Dr. Umar said. My abandonment hadn't been worked through enough.
Right.
What I love about dating and having been single for 6 years and doing my work is through my experiences, I get to feel my growth when I no longer get any anxiety over the guy I'm dating moving in any way he wants to move. There's so much freedom in that.
Yeah.
And that's why I say to people, if you're in a space that's unhealthy, all it takes is one. I had to take self-inventory. I had to say, what the hell am I doing? Because I was having two things, attachment anxiety in relationships, meaning if I feel unplugged from you,
Right.
anxiety, right? We unplugged, Nick. We unplugged. I don't know where you at, or or if I didn't have control over you, my abandonment, the little girl in me would say, oh, this is about to be short-lived.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute. If you can't control it, it's going to be uncertainty. Last time things were uncertain, you were abandoned.
Yep.
So you have to identify and be in your reality that that's what you do. And once I got into that and said, that's what I did or I do, I was able to look and say, okay, God and my therapist, how do I undo this? Because back to what I said, because this is not serving me.
Right.
Now, if it was serving me, I would have kept rolling with the punches. Let me go to one more part and to wrap up. The other thing he said was either the control of me controlling my abandonment activation, not the men, but in his words, the men were either pushing the men away or they were leaving. This is what made it really hard for me to change. Not one of them was leaving. Hold on.
Talk your
Hold
shit.
on. Let me go here. Hold on. Let me say this for the ones who are watching. Hold on. And all of them have attempted to be back, still attempt to be back, and would like to be back. But
All
let me
of
say
my
this.
exes too.
I believe you. But let me say this. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to prove a point. That's what enabled me.
Yeah.
That's why in our session that we had, our first few sessions we had, when I said, or with Cam, I think I said, a woman setting a boundary with a man who's dysfunctional not only serves her, it serves him. Because her leaving makes
It
him think,
validates.
what happened here? Let me take inventory of her and of me.
Yeah.
They wouldn't leave. They facilitated. They facilitated my dysfunction. They facilitated whatever I came with. They still put a ring on my finger. They still wanted to be married. They still want that to this day.
Right.
It was good for me in that position,
Right.
but it wasn't healthy for me because all it did was positively reinforce my behavior.
Exactly.
It's
So there was
validated
no
it, basically.
consequence.
Right.
So what I had to do was get in the
Okay.
mirror and say,
Okay.
to Dr. Umar's point, this is the second wedding and the fourth engagement I called off. How do I plan on staying in a marriage forever, even if it's only 15, 20 years? If the moment that my abandonment's inflamed, I go to control so that I can get a hold of really me, but it's you in the relationship with me.
Right.
And you're letting me control you, but at some point I sabotage because there's no level to control. Meaning, when you let someone control you here, guess what? They raise the bar to here. And they raised the bar to here. And they
Yep.
raised the bar to here. So
Yep.
there was no level of control any man could have let me have that would have dissipated my abandonment.
Yeah.
That's a self job. I had to
Basically, what she's saying is that the niggas knew the issues that came with her. Obviously, they knew that they still decided to put the ring on her finger. If she was to marry those niggas, it will only get worse. That's basically what she's saying is, and I agree. I fully agree. I know for a fact the reason marriages like never last is because before they even get married, they already know issues that the other's having, and one of them is submitting to it. So if it keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and it's already pissing you off before the marriage, my nigga, what the fuck you think gonna happen deeper into the marriage? You know, and she's not saying from an aspect of that she think the nigga gonna leave, because she know the nigga wasn't gonna leave. It would have been her leaving it. Then she's putting herself in a position that she's gonna leave. That's what a nigga shouldn't do. She think like a nigga. I said this when I did the last video. She thinks like a nigga. And I ain't gonna say there's nothing wrong with thinking like a nigga, because at the end of the day, niggas think the best. But, and I can't lie, I would take her. So let me not count. I would take her. Okay. You know what I'm saying? She's precious. She's cute. She got a good head on her, my nigga. Like, yeah, learn me something. You feel me? Invest in me. Make me become the man I want. Like, I would take her for sure. So like, it's not like we saying like, why you not married? Like it's a insult or something, because she easily could be. Most niggas watching my video right now would take her right now if they could. You feel me? Like, that's undebatable. She's a female. She's choosing to be single, and at the end of the day, that don't mean what she's saying. Even if that wasn't the case, even if she was the ugliest bitch alive, that don't take away from what she's saying. Look at the message, not the person saying it, not the antics behind it. When this Charleston White saying some messages, people don't have no problem looking past the bullshit he say. But let a female say it, and all of a sudden men want to trip out because it's a female. Like, nah, bro, it's all the same shit. At the end of the day, she's a human. We all humans, my nigga. And at the end of the day, most men listen to their mamas. Why you can't listen to her? That's how I feel about the situation. But regardless, man, I got 3 vids on the screen, man. You got to click one if you enjoyed this video. You still here right now, man. Regardless, man, make sure you subscribe before you click off. Make sure you like and comment. Say something about the video. Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at the top. Be sure to catch the Twitch, man. I'm live every night, literally, man. I've been on a street. Regardless, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning into the video. Have a good day. Peace.